Dear aficionados, today our topic is cigar ritual. When we hear the term ritual, what comes to your mind? There are certain details which we have to look into when it comes to Habano's lifestyle or a cigar journey. You have to look into attributes on cigar before smoking the cigar, while smoking the cigar, and also when you finish smoking the cigar. Our topic today is cigar ritual. Cigars are made of a minimum of 5 different kind of leaves, if not more. Certain cigars got 6 leaves and more. However, the standard numbers of leaves in a cigar is 5. Often comes from 2 plants, sometimes 1, sometimes multiple plants from different origin. So cigar has a lot of details in it, as in flavors, aroma, the look of the cigar, the overall feel of the cigar in your hand. So many details. So before you cut and light a cigar, you have to feel the cigar in your mind and also in your hand. So when you take a cigar from a box, let's say that you have a cabinet box of 25, you open this beautiful box, you take a cigar out. First thing what you have to feel is how the cigar looks, its condition. Simply pressing with the thumb and the index finger, you will be able to understand its humidity. Is it soft and springy? Is it too humid or dry? So that's the first attribute you understand from the cigar. Feeling the cigar between your fingers. So by touching the wrapper, by feeling the cigar, you make a kind of relationship with the cigar. That is the first and the foremost step when you take a cigar in your hand. Feel your cigar. Once you look at the cigar, you understand that this is a cigar you wanted to cut and light and smoke. You started to understand its aroma. The aroma I differentiate into 2 different segments. The aroma of the wrapper and the aroma of the fillers. Now, the wrapper aroma often has a lot of influence from the packaging. So this particular cigar comes from a cap of 25. It comes in a wonderful cedar wood and it's been kept there for many years. Especially the vintage cigars being inside the cab for many years, the cab gives a certain kind of aroma to the cigar, mostly cedar. However, the wrapper also has an aroma which is very tobacco, right? It also has flavors in it. It does not mean that the wrapper does not have any flavor. It has to a certain extent. So you feel that aroma by rotating the cigar all over next to your nostrils. You feel that beautiful cedarish aroma together with the wrapper. So it's a mix there. Now you have to go to the foot of the cigar by trying to get the overall aroma of the cigar, including the wrapper. So it's a mix of filler, binder, and wrapper. You try to smell it, focusing and concentrating on the cigar foot. Sometimes you don't understand it's so deep. So one of the best practice to do is to close one of your nostrils. You get intensity. It's focused, it's concentrated. So you understand 2 different kind of aroma on the cigar before cutting and lighting. Once you cut the cigar, you have another aroma comes in. Now, cutting the cigar. This is one of the most important part of the cigar ritual. However, we have done a great video earlier about cutting the cigar, so I'm not going to focus more in it. In cutting the cigar, feel the cap, feel the overall cigar in your hand, and trying to make that kind of concentration and relationship with the cigar, and making sure the cap is the only part I'm going to cut. Nothing more, nothing less. One firm cut, you get a beautiful cut. As I always say in our videos, if the cut is so perfect, you will get this, a simple cap in your hands to play with. The aroma here is completely different than the wrapper aroma and the food aroma. Try to understand this aroma. This is the aroma which has a direct connection when you smoke the cigar, because you cut it open, it's so fresh, the tobacco at this side of the head is not exposed earlier. Now you're exposing it to the atmosphere. It has a great connection with the atmosphere you are in. Try to get this aroma, which is beautiful, the fresh tobacco aroma. You often get this aroma only in the cigar factories or places where the cigar has been fermented. It's completely different than the fruit and the wrapper. Once you make contact with the head of the cigar, the next thing what you have to do is to feel the cigar by simply putting the cigar in your mouth. Here you are touching your lips, which is slightly moistened because you always have moisture around your lips, with the head of the cigar. You simply give a little kiss, I would say, on the head of the cigar. Often cigar aficionados, connoisseurs, they try to take a draw to feel, oh, the draw is perfect or not. Often you have a beautiful movement of air through when you try to take a draw before lighting. Great. It has a great aroma, it has a great feel on the palate, and it has a great draw. If it is a cigar which comes from a blend which is very stronger, you often get a tingling effect on your palate that comes from the tobacco itself. To get it more, you can put the tip of your tongue and try to touch the head of the cigar, like this. You get a taste. It's sourish, sometimes spicy. This is to understand what kind of cigar you are smoking. This is next level of understanding what's inside your cigar. Once you make contact, once you feel all the attributes of before lighting the cigar, it's time to light the cigar. So let's toast the cigar. The most important part now, after cutting, comes the lighting. When you light the cigar, as we covered in other multiple videos we had earlier, you have to make sure the flame part, which is really far from the foot of the cigar. You rotate the cigar in the circular motion from out to in. It's not in to out. Okay? You have to make sure you light the cigar from out to in. Here we go. Outer layer of the cigar and then coming to the inner circle. That's how you wonderfully toast a cigar. In this toasting aspect, you feel a certain aroma which is very warm because it's hot at the moment. You try to rotate as much as you can so that it's evenly lit. You don't want to rush this practice because rushing the lighting part has a direct impact on the flavor of the cigar. It's like caramelization of sugar. You don't want it to rush it because then it crystallizes or it completely ruins the flavor and the taste. Once you know the toasting is apt, often my friends call it helicopter movement. This is the helicopter movement. The helicopter movement, I know it's funny when you see that someone's hand is rotating like this in a constant movement and faster. What are we trying to achieve here is a movement of air around the cigar foot. So while rotating, you are not overpowering the heat in the cigar, but then a simple practice of movement of air. While doing this, your cigar burns by a natural feel. Sometimes you can actually wave it like this. You can come to your own style. It does not have to be helicopter movement. It has to be simple movement of air like this. Once you have the cigar lit properly, it's important for you to feel the aroma of the foot of the cigar. Not too close to your nostrils because this is intense. A little bit far. Try to get what kind of notes you have in the cigar. If it is a strong cigar, it will go so powerful to your nostrils. It will give an effect, same as how you smoke it. Because what we are trying to do here is try kind of sniffing, right? Because it's smoke, it goes to your nostrils. So if it is a strong cigar, if it is a spicy cigar, you probably have a hit from the foot of the cigar. So try to keep it a bit far and feel the aroma. It's different than every other aroma we tried here. It's time to take your first puff. Hold it. By holding it, you're trying to play in your palate the flavors of the cigar. You also can retrohale. In my opinion, you don't have to retrohale the first puff. You can do it from the second puff. Why? Because the foot of the cigar is often touching the wooden part of the cabinet, humidor maybe. So let it go, right? Let it go away. From the second puff onwards, if you are a person who loves to retrohale a cigar, you should retrohale every cigar if possible. However, some of our connoisseurs and aficionados, they are not able to, medical reasons sometimes lack of practice, because retrohaling is all about practice. So you do the retrohaling from the second or the third puff, making sure the cigar is properly lit. It is a circular lit, and then completely you can get a bullseye effect like everybody say. Once the cigar is ready, second or third puff, retrohale. By retrohaling, you are holding the breath in your mouth. You're letting go the air through your nose. So the smoke is pushed to your nostrils and then it goes out slowly. Let me demonstrate you what not to do when you do retrohaling. Never do what I'm going to do now. Don't push the smoke through your nose. Never push the smoke through your nose. Let it go slowly. So slowly it should be that you will see the wave when you are feeling that beautiful sense of aroma, perfumery, fragrancy, that spiciness in the cigar, it may come up too. So do this always. Try to make it as softer, slowly as possible. You can do a mix. You can do half retrohaling and half through the mouth. So you are connecting the palate to the nostrils. Both are different. Your brain will be able to captivate the taste and the aroma differently, completely. So this is the most important aspect in the cigar profile, the aroma of the cigar. It's important the flavor, it's important the strength, but aroma has a powerful connection to the enjoyment of a cigar. A cigar lifestyle won't be complete without the aroma of the cigar, before lighting and after lighting. So making sure what the aroma gives you, what kind of hints it can give to your cigar program, cigar journey, right? You're trying to understand what is in it. Is it sweetness? Is it spiciness? Sourish? Woody? Nuttiness? What kind of aroma in it? You cannot understand a particular aroma immediately. You try to get some hints. Continue the journey. While reaching a certain size of the cigar, let's say that the first half, you will be able to captivate the beautiful aromas in the cigar. It's never the same. It continuously evolves in a better feature, in a better version of it. So never judge a cigar by a couple of puffs. It's enjoyable, nice, go on. But if it is not enjoyable, don't judge the cigar by few centimeters of your smoke. Never smoke a cigar and say that this cigar is crap, let it me go. No. Give the time to the cigar. This cigar was kept in the humidor or the cabinet for many, many years. This has been done in a different way by many people who work on the product. So give that time for the cigar to be playful in your palate, cigar to be playful in your mind, and also smoke slowly as you could. Not that slow that the cigar will get off, but then slow enough, much slower that you enjoy more from the cigar. Retrohale, you get much better, right? So the aroma after smoking is different. Now there is another part of aroma which is also very important. Let me take a puff. I often said this, cigar is like your girlfriend, wife, date. You know, you have to give the attention to the cigar. Never forget the cigar. Give the attention and give the puff in a timely manner. Great cigar. Now, we understand the aroma coming from the fruit of the cigar, right? When the cigar is burned, there is a complex process happening here. The 5 different kind of leaves are completely in continuous process of burning. So you have an aroma coming from the little pencil thin burn. This is completely different from the aroma what you're getting in the complete enjoyment of your palate and the smoke and the nostrils, because here is different. So I would like all of you, once you take the puff, okay, do this practice, it's very important. You smoked, then comes to the cigar again. You will notice this is not exactly the same aroma of the first time you toasted. When you toasted the cigar and you did not puff the cigar, you know, the journey of the cigar was improper, right? Because when you puff, there is a travel happen. The smoke had traveled from the fruit of the cigar to the head of the cigar and to your palate. So before, when we were toasting the cigar, you got an aroma which is lighter version of it. Now it's completely different. Wow, this is mesmerizing, marvelous, rich, nutty, creamy, you name it. It's like an intense, you know, I would like to say the first part is like, you know, in the perfume world, they call it eau de toilette and also eau de parfum. So, you know, the eau de toilette is basically the, how would I say it, it's a softer version of eau de parfum. So at the moment you are getting the perfume, before you are getting the toilette. So that's the difference when you are trying to get the aroma of the cigar in different area. Once you reach here, it's much more intense because it has been taken the journey softer, powerful, richer, while reaching the fruit of the head of the cigar. By enjoying the cigar more than half of it, you get a completely different, stronger, richer aroma. So this aroma is completely amazing. You have to enjoy it in a step-by-step process. It's not just you smoke a cigar, light up, and then, you know, you have a conversation. It's great, but then give attention to the cigar itself. You can learn a lot from how the cigar is evolving. So that is the ritual you should not forget. Now, the ash also have an important feel on the cigar. The cigar ash will act like a radiator for the cigar, because this part of the ash helping the cigar to burn evenly and also not to burn too fast, and also it makes the cigar in the perfect temperature to burn without overheating the cigar. The cigar should be on the right condition for this. And to understand the right condition, there are 2 aspects. First, the way you smoke. Don't smoke the cigar too fast or too slow. If the cigar is burning properly, and the ash is consistent and perfect, you can touch the cigar burning area like this, very close to the burning area. It's not hot. It is warm. It's warm, but it's not hot like I have a tendency to remove my fingers. I can feel it, which means that it is warm enough, but it is not overheated. This is the right way to smoke the cigar. if you are not able to keep your fingers here, if you feel too hot on the cigar, keep the cigar in the ashtray, let it slow down. Let the cigar be there for some time, because which means that you're puffing too often. Sometimes the cigar is overly humidified, sometimes the cigar is super dry, so that can completely change the enjoyment of the cigar. So if it is overheating, by feeling the cigar completely when it's burning, if it is too hot, leave the cigar in the ashtray, watch him, feel it, let it take some rest. Then you can restart the journey. Once you restart, you make sure that touch and feel, is it warm now? Because if it is too hot, there are certain aficionados, connoisseurs, they like to smoke the cigar too fast. It's very personal. However, the right way to do it, you should not smoke the cigar too fast, because first, you enjoy the cigar for a longer time, and second, you're enjoying the right attributes of the cigar flavor and aroma. You don't want to kill it. There is no way that you can fast forward the cigar enjoyment. If you like to smoke a cigar in a half an hour way, try to choose a cigar which is shorter. There are cigar formats, multiple levels, right? There are cigars, petit coronas, half coronas. You have smaller versions of every cigar available in the market. You can actually buy those and smoke those if you are in a rush. But then if you're given a time for a Robusto, let's say that this is a Robusto, so you have to give it time 45 minutes to an hour to completely enjoy the cigar. You can't just puff and smoke too fast. If you really like to smoke a Robusto in half an hour, make sure the humidity is very high, because if the humidity is low, you are literally heating the cigar like no tomorrow. So if you like to smoke the cigar too fast, make sure the humidity is much higher, in the level of 70. You know why? Because otherwise the cigar will heat up so fast. When you have high humidity in it, it will give you a kind of radiator effect, because in the end is moisture that will help the cigar not to heat up too fast. So if you want to smoke the cigar too fast, which is personal, keep the cigar humidity in the 70% relative humidity while smoking, not by keeping, while smoking. So you have to keep another humidor for it to make sure that the humidity is 70%. Not the preservation humidity, but the smoking humidity should be 70 if you like to smoke the cigar too fast. If you want to smoke the cigar like the way I do, I try to smoke my cigar in 66, 67. Some vintage cigars, we keep it below 65, sometimes even 63. But the perfect way to enjoy the cigar is in 66, 67. It's nothing magical, it's science. So it's chemistry, because that is a perfect. People have done research in it. The perfect enjoyment humidity for a cigar is somewhere between 65 and 67. The preservation for Cuban cigar is 65 to 70. 67 is better. If it is vintage, it can go below 65. Too much information for a short video. Okay, moving forward. Now, tapping the ash. When to tap the ash? First of all, I don't like the idea of tapping, because tapping is for cigarette. Tapping is this movement like this, or but sometimes we are afraid. You're enjoying a great afternoon, evening, day. You're enjoying it. You're often afraid that the ash may fall into your dress, your jacket, or your chair. So you don't want to take the risk. You can feel the foot of the cigar by looking at it. Okay, is it time for the ash to fall? If you're afraid, a simple movement will help. All what you have to do is keep the cigar. Don't crush this like this. You can do a simple tap. You see? Before I was trying to tap, it did not fall because it wasn't ready. But now, without even me looking at it, the ash decided by itself that fallen. So that shows that you have to pay attention. I was about to go to the ashtray and try to tap it, just to give a little feel. The tapping is not too fast or not too harsh. It's a simple movement. Thumb. That's what all you need. You don't need to tap it like this. A little touch like this is enough. Once you tap, if you have a lot of residue, you can actually do this on the sides. This cigar has nothing, it's perfectly fell off. A little touch like this, I often do this because it gives me a lot of confidence to smoke again, leaning back, because once the ash is fallen, there is always a certain magnetic kind of field there which fall in your jacket. So I often tap a little bit like this, I lean back, I take my beautiful puff. Beautiful. You take your time in it. When the ash is fallen, you often see a cornish effect, which shows the cigar is in a perfect humidity and the cigar also rolled in a perfect manner. The ligero, the leaf for the strength, often burns slower than the rest of the leaf. That's why you have a cone shape. So I will come up to this great idea of what are the differences in the cigar burning on another chapter. But at the moment, I want to finish the cigar rituals. So that's the ritual we talk about, tapping the ash. Now, moving forward, you enjoy the cigar. You can connect your beverage time to time. Don't drink too often, or don't try to drink too often and try to puff in between, because you have water content in your palate. So once you're drinking something, make sure your palate is completely clean, and making sure that the palate does not have too much liquid, because if there is liquid in your lips, you're gonna touch here, all the liquid could come on the head of the cigar, making the area where the head of the cigar is wet. Once the cigar head is wet, it's difficult for the smoke to pass through because there is high humidity just in the head of the cigar. But there are wet cigar smokers and dry cigar smokers. I come in between because I often like to drink water and other beverages, because I'm a strong believer of moistening my palate when I smoke, and I highly recommend it. You cannot smoke a cigar without a liquid. It could be water, it could be a cafe, it could be a choice of your beverage, what you like the most pairing with your cigar, but try to give a moisture to your palate, because cigar is a dry product in general when you smoke, so you need some kind of moisture to balance it out. But make sure your lips are clean so that the extra liquid won't come on the head of the cigar. How to keep the cigar in the ash? What you have to do once the cigar is finished. Once you finish the cigar, until where you should smoke is a great question. So let's say that many of my friends said, you should smoke the cigar until here, where the band is. Often comes a problem, because, not a problem, but a confusion. Let me show you a cigar which has two bands. In this case, this cigar has two bands. So where should you stop smoking, right? Is it here or here? So you have to make sure that the cigar is enjoyed in the exact position where you enjoy the most. For instance, some aficionados, they would like to smoke the cigar only until here, where the first band ends. These days, the bands are bigger. So you let go here, you lose a big part of the cigar. You are paying a lot of money, and also you are killing a cigar by not smoking it, because 300 pair of hands worked for this beautiful cigar, aged very well, and come to your country, and you just only smoke half the cigar. Not a cool thing to do. So what you do is you remove the band. I have done this earlier. Yet again, when you remove the cigar band, you make sure you remove from the place where it burns, from the foot of the cigar. Often happens when it is close to the band, because when the heat comes, a slight heat comes closer to the band started to lose the glue. It's an edible glue, it's nice, it's beautiful. You simply move the band 1, 2. You see, it starts to move. The burn did not reach here yet. This is a demonstration, because once it reaches here, it's much better. You can simply move, and then you can move it to the direction through the food of the cigar. That's the best practice. Let me take my other cigar, because this is too far for me to remove. This is not charred at the moment. It is off. You rotate it. You simply move the band, and then you enjoy the band. If you are a band collector, you can actually collect the band as it is in circle. You don't have to open it up, because once you open it up, first of all, it does not look nice in the jar. I often recommend my friends, if you wanted to collect the bands, the best way to collect the bands is in circular field, so you can throw it in the jar. It looks very nice. Now, let's say that you could not do it. You were not able to do it. Then you can open it up. But when you open the band, when you're opening the band, you make sure you are not tearing the wrapper, because sometimes the band is attached to the wrapper. It happens. It's a handmade product. There is a torcedora trying to put the band on the cigar. There will be slight touch of the glue on their fingers. It can touch the wrapper. You can't complain on it. You try first to rotate the band. Once it's rotated, which means that there is no connection between the wrapper with the band in terms of glue, so you can easily open it. Nothing happens to cigar. Always move the wrapper. If it is moving, then you can easily do this. If it is not moving, don't do it. Don't do it. Let the burn comes much closer, and you are able to remove it. Because if you try to force forward, then the wrapper will damage. Once the wrapper damages, it's not the great enjoyment again, because the wrapper breaks. It's not great. Now, coming back to the point of until where you smoke, right? So you can smoke until the first band is. If there is a second band, remove the second band. I want you to enjoy little more than the second band area, where you can get the intense flavor of the cigar. Many of my close friends, aficionados, cigar collectors, they often like this part more than any other part. Me, on the other hand, I like to enjoy the cigar the most in the mid part of the cigar. There are many people who said, no cigar is worth to smoke. Great statement, okay? Hear me out. No cigar is worth to smoke more than half of the cigar. Let me tell you. This is a cigar. Which one is this? Exclusivo Lébano. C'est sublime. Imagine half of the cigar is this. I'm not against anyone. A great personality in the world said it. Zino Davidoff. I'm not against him. He's a great guy. He have taught so many good things in the world about cigars. However, he have mentioned that no cigar worth smoking more than the half of the cigar, which means this half you have to throw it. So why are you paying a cigar for completely? Number one. Number two, one of my close friends, she told me, Jasim, by the way, who said it? Said, this gentleman said it, Zino Davidoff. Then she said, what he does? I said, he's into cigar business. Okay, he have a reason to say it. Because he's into cigar business, everybody have to smoke only half cigar, which means more cigar he can sell. I don't like the idea of smoking the cigar just halfway. Don't throw the cigar halfway, because there is an enjoyment here. It's beautiful. Try it. Where to stop the cigar when you smoke? It depends on your personality, your interest in a cigar flavor, and what you enjoy the most. It's a personal thing. Some people enjoy the intensity and the strength and the richness on the cigar that often comes here. Some people, they don't. So take it very personal. I prefer to smoke the cigar until here, and if it is too enjoyable for me, like a vintage cigar, like a cigar of a limited edition, or a Gran Reserva Collection Habano, I will enjoy more and more and more. Until it reaches the nub, certain aficionados put a little toothpick or a metal instrument, and then they hold on the instrument, and then they smoke it. Let me show you. It's still not ready until the nub. However, let me show you and demonstrate you how to enjoy the cigar to the nub. This is an instrument. It's beautiful. It comes as a tube, and then it has two strong pins. It's very sharp. You try to poke on the head of the cigar, not too strong, okay? It's very easy because it's very sharp. A little part of it. All you need is this, and then you puff. Why like this? Because you can't hold your fingers here, because if you want to hold the cigar like this, it's until here. So you can only enjoy the cigar until it touches your finger, right? So by this way, you can enjoy the cigar to the nub. Now, let me tell you about my understanding about this. If the heat is touching on the lips, if it is too hot for the cigar smoke on your lips, don't do it, because which means the cigar is too hot and you are not enjoying the flavor of the cigar but just the heat of the cigar. This also have a direct connection with the melanin on your lips. So if you're looking at some of my friends always ask me, Jasim, I have started smoking cigar, I have started smoking cigarette, my lips are turning darker. It's because, not because of the tobacco, it's because of the heat on your palate, on your lips, because more heat around your lips, it turns darker. It's not because of tobacco, or it's not because of nicotine or any mineral composition in the cigar. It's just because it's too hot for your lips. So if you feel heat in this part, don't continue it. Or you can do a practice of puffing so slowly than before, and then try not to get heat on your lips. So this way that you are not conflicting the idea, it's perfect. It's not hot, so it's okay, you can enjoy. So this is how you enjoy the nub of the cigar. Now, when it comes to the enjoyment until the head of the cigar, when you hold the cigar by your fingers, if the heat is too much on the finger, if it is not too enjoyable, it is too intense, it is bitter, it has super sourish taste, because you will know it, only you know it when you smoke, because you have enjoyed the cigar, you know what kind of blend it is, you know what kind of spice it is. So here, if it is too much to handle, let it go. It's time to say goodbye to that cigar. It's a sad part, I know, it's a sad part, it's really painful because you enjoy the cigar too much. There might be a cigar of a special origin, a special release. I understand, but it's time to let it go, because what the last smoke you have has also an impact on the overall feel of the smoke. Imagine you were smoking the cigar in a beautiful way. You have the honey, delicious, you have the creaminess, you have the sweetness, everything is beautiful. You reach the nub part, it's just bitter and harsh and horrible. If that's what you remember, your overall experience is bad. So you have to stop it once the heat started to overpower, once the bitterness starts to kick in, the intensity become too much, let it go. Because in the end, it's all about the experience and the memory of a great time. So you cannot have a memory of bitterness in your palate, because otherwise what's the point of smoking, right? You continue smoking and the only thing you remember is the bitterness on the last moment. We always say this, and there is a great proverb. It says, stop singing while the voice is perfect, which means that you cannot continue singing until you are 99 years old unless your voice is superb, because if you feel that the voice is not as it used to be, stop it. Keep the dignity, keep that enjoyment in your palate, let it go. So you can keep that memory, that connection of the tobacco, that relationship. As I said before, there is a relationship between each cigar you smoke. It's a relationship between you and that cigar for an hour or more, depends on the format, and then keep it with you. That memory is something to die for, because you will remember that about that cigar all the time. Next time you take the same cigar, you will understand, wow, this cigar was great, this cigar was unique, I like to smoke it again. But if you feel only the bitterness and the horrible taste of it, because it's not the mistake of the cigar, because you're smoking too much about it, then that's the only memory you have. So imagine this, keep the cigar in its tasty moment and enjoy and relish more and more. So one important part, let's say that you're smoking a cigar, suddenly you got a call, or suddenly you have to go somewhere, maybe to the restroom, or you're talking to somebody, the cigar goes off. In this case, this cigar is off. So what to do, right? It happens. Now, how to relight the cigar? Is it right to relight straight like this with the ash on it, like this? Or you have to tap the ash? The best practice is to tap the ash. Now, how to tap the ash? You cannot simply crush it, right? All what you can do is, the first practice is this: you can touch the corners, not the cigar, the corners of the ash. So if there is a residual part, it will go off. You can tap it like this. Another practice is, you can use a matchstick or an instrument like this. Try to tap it like this, not on the cigar. Don't go more deeper, because the binder, the filler, the wrapper, you should not touch it. You only touch the ash of the cigar. And I do this, a little tap. If there is any residue on the food, it comes out. Once it's clean, it's personal. You can actually blow it to understand it. It's not a great etiquette when you're sitting in public in a cigar lounge, but then you tap, it's enough. Relighting, it should be much further than the first time when we were toasting the cigar. It has to be, all you need is a little touch. You don't need too much heat once it is on. You know why? Because it is already warm. That's it. You don't need to pump it up. You can use a soft flame, like a DuPont soft flame. You can do that. Otherwise, this is enough. It's done, because it was warm enough. You just give a little touch of love, of heat. It's ready. Voila. Perfect. It's burning perfectly. So if you have to relight, try to understand the relighting is also an art, and that's a part of the great ritual. So I believe that we have covered all the rituals. Once a sad moment comes in, to be apart and depart the cigar from your hands and the fingers and the palate, you let the cigar in the ashtray like this, let it stay, and watch it switch off by itself. Don't crush it. Don't try to crumple it. I have seen people do this, boom, and the foot of the cigar become like an explosion. It looks like a flower being damaged. You should not do that. You just let it stay, let it go off, and then it will be off. Everything is fine. And then once it has been off, you can actually give it back to nature. This is a great fertilizer for plants. You can give it back to the nature. You don't have to throw it in the dustbin. You can, if you have a plant at your home, if you're smoking outdoor, if you see a plant, give it back to the plant. So it helps the other plant to take a part of this tobacco being a fertilizer. So that's it from me today. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. I'm sure you have a lot of comments about this video. There are certain areas which you require more details. Write to me, comment to the video, and ask me more. My intention in this channel is to educate you more about the cigars, the rituals, the lifestyle, the cigar journey, the cigar passion, and anything I know, I want to share it completely to you. And that's my motto by being here and then smoking in front of you for an hour. Hasta luego, until we see each other again. See you soon. And subscribe to my channel and be part of this great moment of cigar etiquette, cigar culture, cigar journey. See you soon. Ciao.